Let me tell you how we almost ended up doing a beach landing at the bull ring in Mexico while doing some night operations training right before a CBP lit us up with their Black Hawk. Hey, it's Timothy also with 9533 Training Consulting, and I want to talk to you about, everybody wants to know, what are the things you've done, what are the things that you've run into, and I prefer to do more of the funny stories rather than anything else, just to show that, yes, it is a great career, great unit. SWCC is awesome, but there's some times that it's just, you're like, damn, really? So we went down to San Diego and we went to a class called MAROPS, which is basically stands for Marine Over the Horizon Training. So basically able to navigate without GPS. We did a lot of our training to make sure we didn't use GPS, because when the trainers come out, they always say GPS doesn't work, now use the chart. So we always train without it. And the way you are able to navigate without GPS is you do speed times distance. If I know my speed and I know my time, I know how far I've got, or how far I've gone. If I know how far I've gone and in how long, I know my speed. And, speed, time, distance, you can determine all that by knowing at least two of the three. You can figure out where you're going. So we went down to San Diego and we were training on CRICS, which is a CRRC. We went down and we were doing the training. A lot of it starts off with just basic, chart navigations. Can we, plot on a chart to go from this Latin long to this Latin long, and, over and over? Can we figure out where we're going? And what would happen is that we would be doing a lot of training out on San Diego Bay in the CRICS. And we would use what's called a Ouija board. Basically, it's big. It's like a foot by a foot, and you'd put your chart underneath it, and it's got a plastic covering on it that can spin. And what you can do is there's a line on it. You can immediately line up to different compass headings and find out, okay, if I'm heading at, I'm doing heading 230, I know I'm on this heading, then I can try and use speed and time and figure out where I'm at. And on the edge of the creek, on the inflatable pontoon, we had a little device that strapped over it that had a compass, and I think it had I want to say it had a stopwatch. I believe it had a stopwatch. And that's how we get our direction and our time. And our speed is determined off the craft. We would do speed calculations from driving the craft and using GPS off of the instructors to tell us, okay, we've gone this distance. We can get baselines for different RPMs on the throttle. And we kind of use it just by sound. We really didn't have any ability to kind of know how far we were turning the throttle. So we're out in San Diego Bay, and our final job is we had to go out at dark 30. I don't remember what time it was. It was dark. And we had to head out through the entrance to Coronado Bay. Now, just north of that, they told us, hey, there's an area with a bunch of seaweed. It's the kelp beds. You want to avoid those. If you screw up and you cut across the kelp beds, you are going to end up fouling your motor, and you're going to have to jump out and clean it in the middle of the night. And there were safety boats out there with us. And they told us before that we went out, they said, hey, look, we're going to be little boats out at night. We've notified, Border Patrol and DEA, let them know that we're out there. Carry your ID on you. If you get stopped, we had a radio for security, for safety and security. Call us on the radio, give us your where you're at, and we'll come to you. But just do everything they say. So we all had that, and it was three of us on the boat. And that particular time, our driver was an idiot. He didn't listen. He was one of the worst navigators that we had. Unfortunately, myself and another gentleman were the best navigators. We were actually on the same craft. So they split us up. They said, no. We don't want the two of you together. We want to split you guys up because, you know, we were like hitting all of our waypoints. And the way the waypoints worked is that they would give us a starting spot and they would say, okay, you're going to go 230 for 5 minutes, and then you're going to turn to, I don't know, 090 for 1 nautical mile. And they break it up. And then you'd have to stop at your final point, like I did my final point in the middle of the ocean. Just stop, and they'd come to you with a GPS. To use a plugger. So back then we had pluggers, which are these huge. They were like this big, like a desert tan. Took these big, gigantic round batteries, and they would say, "Okay, you are lined up on your spot. You're not lined up on your spot, or you're off by so many feet, and you want to go ahead and go 300 yards at 210, and then start from there." And you had to keep doing this over and over. So you really didn't have at the tree, there's no tree, you're in the ocean. And as you're waiting, you're moving, you're floating. So you got to keep your spot. So they split both of us up. And the driver this evening, once again, was an idiot, didn't listen. And so I was navigating. And I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, look, we are going the wrong way. No, we're not. And I'm telling him we've passed our waypoint. Nope, it's longer. Now, remember, he's driving. I'm looking at the chart. I'm telling you where to go. But he's using his intuitive non-knowledge noggin to say, no, we're the wrong direction. So I'm calling out, we're off. And I'm ticking off on my Ouija board how far we're off and how far we missed our turn. And as we're going, there's this blinking light in the distance. And he thinks that this blinking light is something in San Diego. And I'm looking at the chart and it's really hard to tell. You're looking for, usually you can see, blinking light, certain, space of the blink. It'll say, okay, you've got a 1 second blink of white, 1 second blink of blue, whatever it may be. That way you can determine on the chart what it is you're actually seeing because it's in the dark. And I'm looking and I'm going, it doesn't sound right. And as we're getting closer to it, we start to hear waves crashing. And I'm like, I think we're getting close to shore. No, we're not. Once again, not listening, hard-headed. This individual went on to not do anything in the teams at all. That was the type of individual he was. So I start to hear waves crashing, and I'm calling out the waves, and I'm like, hey, we're getting really close to shore. I don't think where we're supposed to be. And as we're getting closer, all of a sudden I go, holy crap, that's the bull ring. Now the bull ring's in Tijuana. And I would guess at this point, we're under 50 yards from shore. If we would have gone a little bit further, we would have gotten caught by the waves and we would have landed on shore and we'd have to try and break our way back out to sea. And breaking out to sea through waves is significantly difficult, to say the least. So we finally turn, and I'm like trying to figure out, okay, this is the bull ring, how far off were we? We've got to turn this way, we got to do this, and we're coming back out now. And as we're doing that, I hear this brrrr, and it's got a high fog layer, probably at 100, 200, 300 yards off the ocean. And I hear these chopper blades, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look back behind us, and this Black Hawk comes out of the clouds. He must have been 100 yards off us and lights us up. I'm like, crap. That's Border Patrol. And, we're just a little boat and a bunch of camouflage, and we're looking at charts, and I look up and I wave to them, and they look back. I know they're looking at us because they're looking at us on FLIR, and they're looking at us really close and looking at what we're doing. And they know we're out there. They're looking at, we have little charts and we're camouflaged and we're looking down, 3 guys, driver, a secondary and a navigator. And all of a sudden the light goes out and he disappears back into the clouds. I was like, damn! We knew they were there, but I didn't know. I didn't even hear them. And so then we continued on our plots as we were making our way to all of our waypoints. But that is how we just about ended up in Mexico while doing some night training. And, the moral of the story is if you're the driver, listen to your navigator because they clearly know more than you do. And the navigator did know more than you do. And the navigator was me. But it was great training at night. It was awesome. It was fun. It really got you to understand how to actually do what you need to do. And those are things you're going to learn when you become a boat guide. You've got to be able to navigate regardless of what the situation is. And if you are liking this content, definitely hit that like and subscribe right below. We're love to put out some more content with you. We're going to put something together for next month. It does take time to put this together. We've got to get all the material and figure out what we're going to do it on. But we are going to make sure we get you covered, and hopefully you can put something up. Let us know what it is you're looking for. But as always, on time, on target, never quit. Hoo-yah.